Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Mirror Expressions, where I share a little bit of myself with you all, and I invite y'all to come on here to do the same with me. But first, let's do a couple of housekeeping things. I need y'all to hit that thumbs up button. Go ahead and do that. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And then let me know how you're doing. If you're A1, drop me a mirror emoji down in the chat. And if you're not feeling your greatest, I ask that you do what you must to get back to a healthier you. All right, y'all. We about to get into a friend of the family. A new episode has dropped, episode 5, and it's called The Bitter Cup. Okay? I'm telling y'all, I'm loving this discussion down in the chat because this is something else. It is something else. All right, y'all. So we left off with episode 4 with Marianne down at B's motorhome, right? They're getting it in like they're getting it in. And so we started this episode off with the same thing. Apparently, she's been going there. They done started a full-fledged affair at this point. Like, apparently, she's going back and forth. She's even staying the night. And so B is just all in her ear. He's convincing her that Bob doesn't deserve her. He doesn't value her. He wants them to be a family. Yada, 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 yada. You know how it goes on. So then we end up seeing Jan. She's in this play, right? You know, that's her thing, being in the plays, the musicals of it all. And so after the play ended, apparently, B done gave her some long-standing red roses. A whole bouquet, right? So Bob is pissed, as he should be. He's just like, no, you can't have this mess up in my house. He throws them away. Jan gets mad. Marianne sitting up there, ain't even trying to support Bob and none of this. You know what I'm saying? She's just sitting back, looking and watching the whole thing. And so Bob, you know, he's hella pissed. So he decides, you know what? I'm going to go over there and give him a piece of my mind. So he goes over to the Burstows' house, right? Jan tried to stop her. No, he's just in town because, you know, his boys were in the play. Don't go over there. And Bob's just like, whatever. So he goes over there. B opens the door, and so Bob is basically like, hey, you need to leave my family alone. You were wrong for giving her them flowers, and you know it. They was just so inappropriate. And so B is just like, dude, he trying to flip it back on him. Basically gaslight him. Got him feeling like he all in the wrong, talking about, Bob, do you see your family here? And because, you know, he's on their property, of course. And he's like, you know, I basically should bop you upside your head. You're the one over here threatening me. And so I'm just like, this dude is a whole character. He will have you believe the sky is red when it's blue as day outside. But anyway, so that is happening. And as Bob is leaving, he says to Bob, oh, and tell Marianne I said hello. I said, oh my goodness. He is playing all day in this man's face. Oh, child. So, Jan, she, well, no. Bob ends up, no, not Bob, but B, you know, he ends up sneaking in their house, and he leaves one of the little speakers by Jan nightstand, and he's recorded a message as the aliens telling him, or telling her that, you know, her earthly father is going to be gone, and don't feel bad about it, and just continue the mission, and blah, 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 you know. So, you know, so now you thinking like, okay, what is this man finna do to Bob? He better try to take Bob out. You know what I'm saying? So that's all that I was thinking that was going through my head. So the next day, Bob is at work, and, you know, he got his own floral shop or whatever. So when he gets there, he goes in through the back way. And, that's usually kind of some type of alley or something. So when he's going in through the back way, there's another car parked there, like literally at the door. And so he just kind of notes it, but he goes on in. He doesn't try to like see who it is or whatever. So he goes on in, and as he's working, he starts to hear like some talking outside of that back door. So he immediately goes and locks it. And he just gets back to his work. And so he's calling the people that he thought the flowers were for. Keyword thought. So apparently he had gotten this note the night before that he needed to do a rush job on some flowers for somebody's funeral. So he's calling the family, or either the church where the service is supposed to be. I don't know which one. But anyway, ain't no person dead. This man done sent him in to work early to set him up for some people to come get him. So he done put two and two together at this point. So the people end up coming back to the back door. This time they rattling it, they're shaking it, and they're yelling at him through the door, talking about some Bob, what's up? You scared? You shouldn't be saying things if you can't back it up and all of that. So I think the people end up just leaving after a while. And so, because Bob does come out and finally look around, and that car is gone or whatever. So Bob ended up telling Mary Ann about what happened. And he was just like, you know what? This is getting ridiculous. If you're having any kind of communication with him, you need to end it now. And I'm just like, for him to even make that statement, I think he knew what was up with Mary Ann. I think he knew. Because at this point, they weren't supposed to have no contact with him. No way. None of the family, actually. So for him to say, if you are, then you need to stop. Like, this should go without saying. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Mary Ann, she ends up going to see him out at the motorhome again. And she's just like, this has to end. I know what you did. You tried to have him set up. And of course, B is just trying to, he trying to work his magic like, no, I'm doing this for us, so we can go away and blah, blah, blah. So Mary Ann was just like, no, this is it. And she walks away. So she was standing 10 toes down this time. I was thinking she was going to give in because she showed looking like it. So she ends up leaving or whatever. And so I think, so now we kind of see we're at spring of 1975, right? So this is like some months later, because the abduction happened in fall of 1974. Just to kind of give you the timeline, right? So what we see now is like B is calling and calling and calling the house consistently, right? And so, So anytime that Mary Ann answers the phone, he did not already peep that Mary Ann is the weakest link. Mary Ann's, out of everybody, and I'm going to just say everybody, meaning, because he ain't really interested in the two young girls. So I'm going to say out of Bob, Mary Ann, and Jan, Mary Ann is the weakest link. She the weakest link because he already got Jan. Jan is just straight jaded. So he already got her. So ain't even no trying to get her. So she already got it. Bob is the strongest link because he done finally stood up and done took back his manhood. So Mary Ann the only one that's kind of straddling the fence going back and forth. So she the weakest link. So he's trying to get to her. That's what he's doing. So he's constantly calling the house. And she answers. He's trying to smooth talk her. If anybody else answers, like one of the kids or Bob, he doesn't say anything. And so we just see this happening. And so the seasons pass by, right? They come and go. Oh, excuse me, y'all. My lunch stuck in my teeth. But anyway, the seasons come and go, right? And then now we're in spring of 1976. So they're about to celebrate, or they are celebrating the baby girl's birthday. So Jan is now 13, almost 14, right? So they got a whole new person acting her, being her, whatever. And so, like an older version of her, of course. And so she's still praying to God though about this Zeta and Zethra and the mission, that she hoped they haven't forgotten about her, that she wants to save all the little 9 children on the planet, and she doesn't want Susan to have to take her place. And I said, oh child, baby. So, and I was just thinking, like, because the oldest Jan, of course, is looking very mature, so it's just kind of hard to reconcile in your brain, or at least it is for me, just to look at her and still think that she is just this naive still. But anyway, nevertheless, she is. And so, next thing you know, we see Mary Ann meeting up with B's them attorney. So it's B the attorney and Mary Ann. She's by herself. Bob ain't nowhere in sight. I don't even think Bob knew about the meeting, right? And so the attorney, you know how she be using her soft voice, but be really the straight talking trash and trying to blackmail and coerce her to do something. So she's wanting, she's basically, that's what she doing. She trying to blackmail her into going along and working together. Oh, for the sake of Jan. And because if you don't, Bob, meaning B, he's gonna have to get on oath. He's gonna have to get on the stand and tell the truth about Bob. And it's gonna come out that your husband Bob is a homosexual. Oh my goodness. I said, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Here go Bob. And if I'm under oath, I cannot tell a lie. I'm just like, you know what? These people here. But surprisingly, Mary Ann said, I ain't going for the BS. She said, you will not get me this time. And first of all, I'm thinking, well, why the hell are you even there without your husband? Period, point in the blank. But anyway, nevertheless, she is. But she gets up. She's just like, you are not going to blackmail me. You know what I'm saying? So she walks out. And of course, B runs after her. He's all dramatic. He go tell his attorney now I gotta go handle this or something like that. He trying to put on a scene for Mary Ann, basically, is how it all kind of boils down to. So he catches up to her. He was like, I don't know why she did that. I didn't know she was going to say all of that to you. We really need to work together. I hate what these lawyers are doing to us. And just please testify that you gave me permission to take Jan. And so Jan threw his words back at him. Talking about if I'm on the stand, if I'm under oath, I can't tell a lie either. And that's not what happened. So, yeah, she called him up with that one. So then he was just like, well, you know what? I'll take a plea and we won't go to trial. And so she was just like, but he was just like, first, I want to speak to Jan. And he was like, and she was like, for what? And he says, because I need to explain to her why I'm going to be gone, what's going to be happening. And so, she was just like, no. And he's just like, well, either you do it or else I'm going to take this to court and all of us are going to lose. Oh, Mary Ann, I thought you was getting the backbone, honey. So, next thing you know, we see her taking Jan to meet up with B off on the road somewhere. And so she pulls up and B gets in the car with them. And of course, it's Dolly this, Dolly that, I've missed you, and blah, blah, blah. And so B still trying to lay it on things, talking about, well, I fired my attorney, And so Marianne's like, oh my gosh, but what are you going to do? And he's just like, well, he turns to Jan and he's just like, well, can you love a jailbird? And she's like, yes. He said, well, I'm going to take the plea then. You know, trying to make like he's some big time hero and like he's really doing something. Nah, dude, you did wrong. You need to serve your time anyways. You know what I'm saying? So, so ends up later that day, Bob come home. He pissed because he done found out that she done took Jan to go see Bob, right? I mean, well, Bob, but B. He finds out. And so he confronts Marianne about it. And so Marianne's just like, I did this for us. I did this for you, you know. He's gonna now take a plea. And Bob was like, he was gonna take a plea anyways. Like, oh, y'all, sometimes I just want to be like, oh, Mary Ann. Mary Ann. So she looking all stunned, right? And she was like, you know, well, I thought it was the lesser of two evils. And that's why I took Jan. And Bob's just like, why does it have to be any evil? You know what I'm saying? Oh, so then Mary Ann says it's time for her to go and clear the air, right? So she tells Bob that she's been unfaithful, and of course it's been with B, and but that it stopped when he had sent somebody out to the shop to hurt him. So they get into it and he leaves, right? And the girls, they're hearing all this because, you know, their bedrooms are downstairs. So they're hearing all this. So Marianne kind of tries to talk to them about how, you know, grown-ups can have fights too, just like children can, but it's not going to last. And then, you know. So anyway, though, the next day come and baby Bob ain't playing with that ass. He is not playing. He done served her with papers telling her that she's an imminent danger to the children, and so she has to leave. And then he gonna say, and your divorce papers will be following soon. The attorney's working on them. So Marianne, of course, she leaves, right? And she ends up going to meet with the church board, you know. Again, I'm guessing this is just something like part of their faith where they have to, you know, go confess their sins and, you know, meet with the board or whatever. But, you know, she ends up, you know, how Bob got the fellowship or whatever, when he admitted to doing what he did with B. And now Marianne, though, is being excommunicated. They excommunicated her from the church, right? So she ends up going to stay with her mom and her sister. And so then we see let me see, the girls and Bob, they're out like, I don't know, I think they were getting some ice cream or something like that. They're out of like a little small cafe, I'll just say that. And so they're sitting there, and so Bob is just kind of explaining to them what's going on. And so the girls, you know, are asking about their mom and if it's their fault, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, no, but I'm going to need y'all to step up. And it just so happens, the lady from when Jan went to the doctor's office was in there. The one she kept staring at like, I know you're an alien. That woman was in there. So they end up exchanging eye contact again. And Jan kind of just zones out because she keep looking at this lady. And of course, the lady is not an alien or anything of the nature, of course. But I think she's just a friendly person that's probably sympathetic towards Jan. You know what I'm saying? So, because she kind of gave her a head nod, you know. And so Jan is just internalizing all of this the wrong type of way, right? So B ends up sneaking into the house again. Y'all, why is this man going in and out these people's houses like that? So he leaves Jan another message. And it's basically telling her that the time is near. The mission has to keep going. And so we see Jan at school about to go home. And a girl, well, no, it's two girls, end up calling her over. They call her Dolly, though. The same word that B calls her. So you know he done see these girls up there. And so they pass her a little note through the fence. It is a little typed up note. And it's just like, you need to meet at such and such address, blah, blah, blah. So instead of going home, she ends up riding her bike over to the address that was on the letter or whatever. And it was a little rundown house. It looked real sketchy, y'all. It's like she went in, when she walked in, it was just like empty beer bottles all over the place. Like, I was like, who lives here? It was like an old man and a dog sitting on the couch. And I was like, But anyway, B pops up from out of like one of the back rooms. And he's just like, I'm so glad to see you, Dolly. I'm so glad you came. And we don't have a lot of time, so let's talk. So he takes her like to the back bedroom, and he's basically, telling her that he has to go away. He's going to be going to Wyoming and working to get together like this fun center, like a fun place for the kids to go to. And he was telling her, he's trying to bait her in. There's like a theater not too far from the kids center. I think he said it was like next door. And so she should come there, And so he kind of puts it in her head. And she's like, you know what? I could come and work for you. And then I can go to the theater and I'll be with you. And he's just like, yeah, that's a good idea, Dolly. You work on Bob and I'm going to work on Marianne. Y'all. Ooh, child. So Jan ends up coming home and asking Bob about, can she go? Now, this is a whole 13-year-old asking, can she go away to this, to a whole nother state? Because they're in Idaho. This place is in Wyoming. So, can she go there and work at this theater or go to this theater? And so Bob is just like, no. Right. And so we see Marianne. She's still at her parents' house, and her sister is talking to her. She's just telling her that basically, I think she was just being real upfront with Marianne. She was like, look here, you had you a good man, and now you done effed it up, because it's hard out here in these streets for a single woman. Plus, you probably ain't gonna get the kids back just because you the one went sleeping out on Bob. So, Marianne feeling some kind of way. Like, her sister like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being real. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, we end up seeing Marianne after this. She goes on to see B. I was just like, why are you going to see him? And she's just like, life is so hard. It's not how I wanted it to be. And so Bob is trying to convince her, well, move to Wyoming with me. I always said, what if we had met before? This would be perfect. This is our chance to be together. Bob is at the picture. You can come. The children will come. And we'll be like the Brady Bunch family. And then he tells her, I want you to marry me. And so she looking like, you don't know what she thinking. You already know she's so easily to be swayed. And this is all I can think. Like, you bet not. You bet not. So, after that happens, we just see her show up at the house. She dressed to the nines, baby. Had her little dress and heels on. She comes sashaying into the house. And Bob is there, you know. I'm guessing the kids are still at school or something. So she's just like, you know, can I sit down and talk? And he says, yeah. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This is all I'm thinking. This is all I'm thinking. She is there to fake make up. Because I'm really thinking she finna try to finesse the hell out of Bob. Like she done took a page out of B's book and is finna finesse this man so she can end up taking them children and run off with B to Wyoming. Now, no lie, this is just what's going through my head, y'all. And I could be wrong. And I do feel like I'm wrong by the end of the episode. But at this moment, this is all I'm thinking. Like, she is really not there to really make up. So she come in, she sat down. And, you know, she starts saying she's sorry. She misses her children. She misses their father, too. And so they end up hugging and then the kids walk in. So they're excited to see their mom back. And so they run to her. All except Jan. Jan is not looking too pleased with her mama. And I don't know if it's because she heard that mama was sleeping with B. You know what I'm saying? Or what it was. But she did not go hug her mama. So her mama held out her hand like, come on, Jan. So Jan comes to hold her hand for a few seconds and then snatches it away like, like I'm not feeling it. So anyway, it's July 1976 now, right? We're back in the court, right? And B has taken a plea. And he gets only 5 years, y'all. Only 5 years for kidnapping this girl and taking her across the border and doing who knows what with her. 5 years. And then the judge goes on to say, well, since this is your first offense, I'm going to drop that down to you serve only 45 days of that. 45 days. And then he said, with the time you have already served, that brings you to a total of 15 whole days. Y'all, I would have been so devastated. I would have been so devastated. 15 freaking days. And then when Pete, the FBI agent, came by and told Mary Ann and Bob about it, Bob was just like, he took her longer for 15 days, and I feel him on there. Like, I felt that pain. Like, literally, this is all he gets. 15 freaking days. And so Mary Ann was like, well, what can we do about it? And Pete was like, nothing. It's over, you know. And he probably thinking like, first of all, y'all made some stupid mistakes at the beginning of all of this, which probably would have sealed his fate a lot worse than what it is. But, you know, you can't turn back the hands of time, of course. So, you know, like, what can you do other than try to pick up the pieces and move on? I think at that point, I probably would have just relocated my family or something and just tried to rebuild our life together, you know. But anyways, so Jan ends up coming in and asking her parents, like this time she's kind of asking from the angle of going to this theater and having this opportunity. She could get a job there. And so Bob was just like, is this someplace you can ride your bike to? And so she says, no, it's in Wyoming. And both Bob and Mary Ann together like, hell to the no. Like, because of course, I don't think Bob at this point knows that that's where B is moving to. But Mary Ann knows for sure, because remember, he asked her to marry him and take the kids, and they all moved to Wyoming together. So she knows. I don't think Bob knows, but she knows. So Jan gets mad. She started mouthing off at her parents, talking about she hate them. And then she wanted to do this because her dad can't provide them with the life they deserve. I said, oh, whoa, baby, you got some nerves. And so anyway, she goes up to her room and we see that B has been writing her letters, like some that are from from him, and some that are supposedly from the aliens, because we see handwritten letters and typed up letters. So Jen ends up packing her bag, y'all. Pack her whole suitcase, and she pushed it under her bed. She hid it. And I said, oh, okay. She's going to run away. She's just going to wait for the right moment. And sure enough, one day, the dad was gone. He probably was out to work. And the mom said, hey, I need you to watch the girls. I need to run to the store. So Jan was like, okay. Honey, by the time that mama came home, Jan was gone. Jan was Gone, gone. So the mama pulled up, and little Susie is crying, and Karen is apologizing. And so the mama's like, what's going on? And they're like, Susie fell off her bike. And Susie, I think my arm is broken. And so mama's like, well, where is Jan? And I don't know what made her ask where was Jan at that particular time versus really just paying attention to what Susie had going on. I don't know. I don't know. I'm saying Susie would have been my first priority other than Jan, because I would have been like, well, Jan could have been in the house at the moment, because even still, Jan wouldn't have been able to do anything. But, you know, I'm just kind of speaking from my standpoint now. It could have been totally different. I might have been in a different mind frame had my child been taken before. And then I see my other two children and I don't see her. My mind may have immediately went to, now something's up. She ain't just in the house. So I can't say that. But anyway, so she did. She really didn't pay attention to what Susie had going on. She was like, where's Jan? And so Karen, the middle child, said, well, she left in a taxi cab. Right? So they jump in the car, and baby, Mary Ann was booking it, baby. She was driving so reckless. She scared me. I felt bad for the kids. At one point, she was trying to pass a car, and so she swerved onto the opposite lane, and a whole nother car was coming. I was like, oh, please. You know. But so she zooms over to the airport, right? And she gets there, she hops out, she goes in, and she's there for a while because, you know, the airport is very busy when they first make it. By the time Mary Ann comes out, the airport is empty. And she just gets in the car and just breaks down crying. And y'all, that's how the episode ends. We don't know what's what, or if she actually got on the plane and went somewhere. We don't know. She hopped on a bus. If B met her somewhere, we don't know. But we'll find out Thursday. Anyway, I want to hear what y'all got to say. Oh my gosh. This is, like I said, this is like a train wreck you can't turn away from. You just can't. It's really good. I want to hear your thoughts, though. And as always, y'all, I'll pray for y'all. Y'all please pray for me. And what? That's right. Bye, y'all. Peace out.